Gonna get started on this record right now. We got some gritty, funky jams coming in at number 20. I love the way this song starts. Oh, Alexander O'Neal, he chimes in. He says, "What's that? Play that nasty bass." Yes, the drums kick in. That's what I like about it. This is R&B. This is rock and roll with those thick drums. Boom, boom, boom. Danceable record, R&B record. Alexander O'Neal with Fake at number 20. Oh my goodness, it jumped 14 notches from 34 the previous week. Fantasy playlist of July 4th, 1987. The badass dance record, man. It's got propulsion like a space shuttle or Learjet or just jet engine jams, man. That's what it is. Jet engine jams. Hey, I just created a new phrase. Jet engine jam. Jet engine jams. Yeah. Jams. Alexander O'Neal, a Fake. Okay, let me try to get serious. Yeah, give me that nasty bass. I believe that's the way he starts. That's kind of like Janet Jackson when she did Nasty in '86. Remember, she said, "Give me the beat," and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they produced it. God dog, they were humongous R&B pop producers back in the '80s and '90s. You don't hear much about them anymore, but boy, they sure put their mark on popular music and R&B back in the day. Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, they knew Alexander O'Neal. They were in a band with Alexander O'Neal back in the late '70s, early '80s, but I'll get into that in just a minute. They knew what kind of attitude he would have. They wrote for him, knowing what kind of material he preferred. They knew their man, and they knew him well. And what they liked about Alexander O'Neal, this guy could sing a ballad. Now, he did a song called Saturday Love with Sherelle back in the spring of '86, which is kind of a mid-tempo slow jam. Maybe not quite a Quiet Storm record, but it's kind of slower, a lot slower than Fake. And he can also do an up-tempo, just gritty number like Fake, Alexander O'Neal. The way this worked, Jimmy Jam came up with the concept, and Terry Lewis wrote the lyrics to Fake for Alexander O'Neal. Alexander O'Neal, let's go through the history of him. Born in Mississippi, Natchez, Mississippi, he moved to Minneapolis when he was 20 years old. He played the local circuit. He was a singer in various cover bands. He met Prince, and he met Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They encouraged him to keep singing. As a matter of fact, Prince had formed a band. He wasn't in the band per se, but he formed a band called Flight Time. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis was in that band. It was in that band along with Alexander O'Neal. Alexander O'Neal was the lead singer of Flight Time. But guess what happened? Alexander O'Neal had a disagreement with Prince. God, it looks like everybody just fought with Prince. Must have had a very strong personality. Prince did. Wouldn't be surprised. Well, Alexander O'Neal left Flight Time. He quit Flight Time. He was replaced by another lead singer. His name, Morris Day. Flight Time became The Time, Morris Day and The Time, and they had these scintillating dance jams. I mean, R&B, throwdowns, Jungle Love, The Bird, Ice Cream Castles. I believe it was Ice Cream Castles in the summertime back in the spring of 1984. I remember watching that video on Night Tracks. But I'm getting off topic. After Alexander O'Neal left Flight Time, he formed his own band called Alexander, but guess what? It was a rock and roll band. They were doing rock and roll in the Twin Cities area back in the mid-'80s. They were covering Rolling Stones and Def Leppard records. This was the range of Alexander O'Neal. But here's the thing. Alexander O'Neal was not intimidated by doing rock and roll, hard rock and roll. After all, as far as he was concerned, it was blacks. It was African Americans who invented rock and roll. And there was a quote by him. He said something like, rock and roll, particularly the early rock and roll, is basically stepped up blues. After a stint, after he did the rock and roll thing, he put out a 12-inch single. It was off an independent label in Chicago. It was called Playroom. But then in 1984, he got a deal with Taboo Records, T-A-B-U Records, and he rehooked up with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis becoming independent producers after The Time broke up. Another song I want to suggest by Morris Day. Morris Day, this guy, I'm getting off topic, and I'll probably discuss it more when I get to another fantasy playlist because I got some of Mars Day songs and some of my fantasy playlists back in the 80s. Oak Tree by Mars Day, I recommend it. Also, Fishnets Black Pantyhose by Mars Day. The guy was not just an R&B singer; he was also he was a showman, kind of like David Lee Roth of Van Halen. All right, this is Alexander O'Neal at number 20 with Fake.